You're listening to IsReal News, 3 daily briefings on the Middle East and on global developments.
From IsReal News, this is the evening briefing for Saturday, April 18th. New intelligence estimates suggest Iran still retains a significant portion of its military arsenal. The New York Times reports U.S. intelligence now assesses Tehran still has about 60% of its missile launchers and 40% of its drone capabilities from before the war. That assessment comes as tensions rise again around the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has moved to shut the strait once more and has reportedly fired on ships trying to pass through, raising fears that fighting could reignite within days if diplomacy fails. President Donald Trump says Iran is trying to be clever, but insists it cannot use the strait to blackmail the United States. A senior American official says that if there is no breakthrough within the next 24 hours, the war could resume in the coming days. At the same time, Iran's lead negotiator, Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, says there has been progress in talks with Washington, but he says major gaps still remain. Iran is demanding an end to the blockade on Iranian shipping before reopening Hormuz. In Lebanon, Hezbollah is also hardening its tone. Senior political official Mahmoud Kamati says the group will not return to the situation that existed before March 2nd and will respond to any Israeli violation of the current calm. He says Hezbollah wants not just a ceasefire, but a full end to what it calls aggression and a total Israeli withdrawal from Lebanese territory. Kamati also says Hezbollah will not give up its weapons, though he says the group is prepared to discuss a defense strategy with the Lebanese state. He claims the current ceasefire was reached with Iranian backing and says international pressure is now trying to give official Lebanon credit for it. In neighboring Syria, authorities say they have arrested 5 members of a terror cell linked to Hezbollah. Officials say the group had been trained outside the country to make and use explosives and was planning attacks against what they called general stability. Syrian authorities also say the cell was tied to another group accused of plotting to assassinate Rabbi Michael Khoury in Damascus. On the ground in southern Lebanon, Israel is confronting the dangers of a fragile ceasefire. A reserve master sergeant was killed after an explosive device detonated during a building search in the village of Jabin, about 3.5 kilometers from the border. 3 other soldiers were wounded. The Israeli military believes the bomb was planted by Hezbollah before the ceasefire took effect and was not detonated remotely. The incident is reinforcing Israeli concerns that the current ceasefire terms are weaker than previous arrangements and may leave troops exposed to hidden explosives and renewed threats. Israeli forces continue clearing villages, fortifying positions, and trying to preserve freedom of action up to the Litani line. The ceasefire remains shaky, and both sides appear to be testing its limits. There is also a new regional report involving Qatar. According to Khan News, a government source from one of the region's countries says contacts between Doha and Tehran helped reduce Iranian attacks on Qatar during the final days of the war. In return, the report says Al Jazeera adopted a less aggressive editorial line toward Iran and gave more space to Iranian voices. Qatar is firmly denying any such arrangement. And in U.S. politics, former Vice President Kamala Harris is criticizing President Trump's handling of the war. Speaking in Detroit, Harris says Trump was pulled into the conflict by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and argues the war is hurting Americans through rising gas prices and strained alliances. Those are the latest headlines from IsReal News.
Follow IsReal News for 3 daily briefings. Fast, factual, and to the point.